You begin your journey not on a planet, not in a spaceship, but in your own breath, slow, steady, drifting. The world around you fades like mist as your thoughts lift upward, softly detaching from gravity. Space receives you not as a stranger, but as something it's known all along. You are weightless for once. Thought becomes motion, and motion becomes stillness. Above and below lose meaning. Only the hush of the cosmos remains. The stars, once scattered pinpricks in the night sky, now gather around you like old friends. They do not flicker here. In this airless silence, they burn steadily, quiet furnaces suspended in a sea too, vast to measure. You feel their warmth even across unimaginable distance. Not on your skin, but inside your awareness, like remembering the comfort of a fire from long ago as you float deeper into the velvet ocean of space. Something begins to tug at your attention. It is not light that draws you. It is the absence of it, a region of sky so still, so untouched, it seems to swallow even the stars nearby. This is where your journey leads. Not to a planet, not to a sun, but to the edges of something profoundly still. A black hole, like a name misleads you. Black hole. It sounds harsh, devouring, destructive. But up close, there is no violence. Only gravity that has grown quiet and absolute. Like the deep breath held in a room just before someone speaks. Like a forest where all the birds have suddenly gone silent. You don't see the hole itself. You can't. But you see what it does. Light bends near it, curves as if unsure of its own path, pulled gently toward a point that never returns it. This is no mouth with teeth, no growling beast. This is the quietest presence you've ever felt. A place where the rules of the universe soften and rearrange. Not broken, just different. Just. Deeper that you drift toward it without resistance. It doesn't pull you sharply. It invites you, slowly, as if gravity has found not just your body, but your curiosity. You remember the stories told about these things, of stars dying, of space-time collapsing. But the black hole itself doesn't seem like death. It seems like a pause. A silence so complete, it changes everything near it. As you watch, a distant star circles the invisible center. It orbits faster than seems possible, pulled into a rhythm not of its own choosing. And yet, it doesn't resist. It dances there, caught in a loop that speaks of something larger, something unseen. You feel yourself drawn into that rhythm too, heart matching pace with cosmic spin, breath aligning with distant revolutions. The black hole itself emits no light, but its surroundings, oh, they glow. Gases and dust spiral in, heated by friction and speed, painting the darkness in hues of gold and violet. You realize you are witnessing hunger, yes, but also creation. The light is not being destroyed. It's being written in a new language, one you haven't learned yet, one that feels more like music than science. Somewhere in your mind, you begin to understand. Black holes are not objects. They are places, conditions, not things that exist, but states the universe can enter. They are the end of one path, the beginning of a different kind of silence. Your thoughts settle beside the event. Horizon, the boundary where leaving becomes impossible. But you are not crossing tonight. You are only watching, only feeling. The edge is enough. It ripples like a quiet tide, not of water, but of time itself. You sense that near a black hole, time moves differently. Not faster, not slower, just curved, as if walking in a circle without knowing you'd left a straight line. For the black hole does not just pull in matter. It pulls in the very idea of forward. You rest there, floating gently above the edge of the unknown. No fear, just awareness. Like staring into deep water without needing to swim. You are not lost. You are learning. From this quiet distance, the black hole no longer seems strange. It seems ancient, necessary, a part of the universe's own. Breathing. An inhale so deep it forgets to exhale for billions of years. You feel its patience, its stillness, its waiting dot, and you begin to wonder, what kind of star becomes this? What kind of ending folds into such silence? What must happen for something so bright to disappear into a whisper? Let's go back now, back through the dark, to the star that once was. There is a weight a star can carry, and then there is a weight too great to bear. You begin this chapter not with darkness, but with light, the life of a star born in brilliance. Before black holes, there are suns, and before silence, there is the long, burning song of creation. You drift backward in time, not minutes or years, but millions of years, maybe more. You find yourself in the middle of a stellar nursery, wrapped in quiet clouds of dust and gas. The air is thick with hydrogen, the most common note in the universe's composition. The stillness here is not empty. It is waiting. Something ancient is assembling. Atom by atom inside this cloud. Gravity begins its quiet gathering. No sudden movements. Just the slow drawing in of everything toward everything else. A whisper of a center forms, dense, hot, and unseen. And then it begins to glow. Not from fire, not from flame, but from fusion. Hydrogen atoms, squeezed so tightly together, merge into helium. In doing so, they release light, heat, life. A star is born. You watch it open like a flower of fire. You feel its warmth across time, as if your skin remembers the sun even when you are light years away. For millions of years it burns. It balances. Gravity pulls in, fusion pushes out. A perfect tension. A luminous dance. But like all living things, the star has limits. It spends its lifetime holding itself together. Gravity whispering come in, fusion whispering not yet. But every second, fuel is consumed. Hydrogen becomes helium. Helium becomes carbon. The core grows heavier. Eventually, the balance shifts. The star grows tired. You watch it swell, not weakly, but violently, brilliantly, defiantly. It expands into a red giant, bloated and unstable, like a heart beating too loudly in its chest. Its surface cools, but its core burns hotter. The fusion moves faster now, less patient, racing through its last reserves and then a moment comes. The final weight arrives. The star tries to fuse iron, but iron gives nothing back. No light, no push, only stillness. Fusion ends. Gravity does not. It begins to collapse. What was once a sun the size of dozens of Earths shrinks inward in seconds. The core folds, compresses, falls into itself. The outer layers explode outward in a final shout, a supernova, scattering elements across. The galaxy. Gold, oxygen, carbon, the ingredients of planets and of you. But the center doesn't scatter. It sinks. You follow that center as it becomes something new. If the star is large enough, if its mass is heavy, relentless, the collapse doesn't stop. It presses inward until space itself cannot resist. There is no more surface. No more inside. There is only the point, a singularity. The star is gone, not dead, just changed. This is how a black hole is born. Not with rage, but with surrender. The star tried to hold itself and couldn't. Gravity, always patient, finally won. But it is not a cruel victory. It's a return, a folding inward. You feel the sadness of it, but also the grace. To burn so long, to give so much, and then to rest. You wonder how many stars you've seen in the night sky that will someday become this. You wonder if your own sun will follow. But no, it is too light, too gentle. It will one day shed its layers and drift into a white dwarf, not a whole, just a memory. Only the heaviest stars collapse far enough to disappear. You hover now, near the remnant, the place where the core once was. It is small, shockingly small. A black hole the mass of a star could be no lighter than a city. All that weight, all that history, tucked into something you could walk across in an hour. If walking were still possible, there is no light here, only the bending of light near it. The absence tells the story. You remember how the light swirled in the last chapter, how the stars nearby danced in strange orbits. This is why. This is the origin. Not a monster, but a fallen sun. One that gave all it had, until there was nothing left to give. The black hole doesn't glow, but its creation is the brightest thing the galaxy sees for a moment. A supernova. A farewell. You drift backward once more, seeing stars at every stage. Birth in clouds, life in fire, death in light. And for some, this final step, collapse, silence, stillness. But even now, you feel the remnants of the star's story. Its gravity still shapes the world around it. Its death becomes a force. Not an end, just a transformation. You let this settle in your thoughts as you drift slowly through the scattered remains, dust, metals, echoes. Everything that was once inside the star now journeys outward into new beginnings, into planets, into cells, into you. You carry stardust in your body, your bones, your breath. So perhaps the black hole is not just the grave of a star. Perhaps it is a memory so dense, even time cannot forget it. And just ahead, you see the place where forgetting begins, where time slows down, where the edge of return quietly disappears. There is a boundary in the universe where the rules begin to dissolve, not with noise, not with light, but with silence and slow surrender. You approach this place now, the edge of a black hole, where time itself begins to pause. The stars still shine behind you, but ahead lies something stranger, quieter. Not a wall, not a door, just a line in space where return becomes impossible. It's called the event horizon. You don't see it like you see a mountain or a cliff. It does not rise or fall. It does not glow. There are no signs. Yet it's real, real in the way silence is real when it fills a room, real in the way a breath held too long begins to ache. The event horizon marks the point of no return. Not for you tonight, but for light, for matter, for time. You float gently toward it. There is no tug, no sudden pull. Only a shift in the way space feels. The stars behind you begin to stretch. Not because they're moving, but because you are. Your sense of time slows, even though your heartbeat feels the same. You are approaching something that doesn't destroy, it distorts. The closer you move, the more your surroundings bend. Light, usually so quick and sharp, begins to curve. Photons, the tiniest messengers of vision, try to escape, but near the horizon, many fail. Some spin in circles, some stall, some fall inward, never to be seen again. You watch these glimmers vanish and feel no fear, just wonder. The horizon does not scream. It whispers. Imagine walking across a field that slowly turns into liquid. That's what time feels like here, fluid, uncertain. What once ticked like a clock now ripples like a pond. If someone were watching you from far away, they'd see your approach slow down, slower and slower, until, just before the edge, you seem to freeze, to hover forever. As if the black hole is holding you gently in place. But from your view, you keep moving. Time for you feels normal. Steps still come. Thoughts still form. You pass the threshold not with drama, but with ease. The crossing feels like falling asleep, not all at once, but gently, layer by layer. This is why the event horizon is not a wall. It's a moment, one that looks different depending on where you stand. Outside observers will never see you. Enter, but you will know. You will feel the shift, the pull, the change. You pause just above the horizon, not crossing yet. Not tonight. You are here only to listen. The silence around you is deep, but not empty. It is filled with curved space and stretched time, with orbits that last forever, with particles flickering near the edge, sometimes escaping, sometimes not. Stephen Hawking once imagined that even here, something glows faintly, that black holes can shimmer with the light of their own undoing. Hawking radiation, he called it. A flicker of escape from the very edge of no escape. You wonder, is this boundary solid or soft? Does the black hole end the story or begin another? The horizon does not answer, but it holds the question like a shell holds the sea. You think about all the things that vanish beyond this line. Planets, gas, starlight, time. But also stories, knowledge, information. Physicists still debate what happens to the things that fall in. Are they lost forever? Or stored in some secret way on the surface? Is the horizon a curtain or a ledger? No one knows. That not knowing becomes a kind of comfort here. You don't need to solve it. You just float beside the mystery, feeling its calm pull. You trace the edge with your thoughts, imagining how long it might take to fall, how far you would go, and whether you'd even know when you reach the center. But you don't fall tonight. You hover, right at the place where decisions are made, because this horizon is more than a border. It's a turning point. The last place where physics as we know, it still speaks in a voice we understand. Beyond it, the words bend. The math curves. The laws soften out, and still, the black hole holds steady. Not with teeth or fire, but with quiet certainty. You imagine time here as a spiral, a slow whirlpool. The closer you come, the tighter it curls. The horizon marks the place where the spiral becomes too tight to escape, where every step forward leads only inward. Yet even here, right at the edge, you find beauty. The way the light bends like silk, the way gravity hums without a sound, the way you can exist so near the unknown and still feel whole. You wonder, then, if light cannot return, what happens to the things that almost fall in? What dances along the edge, but never crosses? Do they become shadows or memories? And so you begin to notice not everything falls. Some things linger just outside. Some things resist. Some things, like starlight, stay close to the horizon, forever circling, never surrendering. What makes them stay? And what do they leave behind? Ask ChatGPT. Not everything crosses the line. Not every particle, not every ray of light, not every dream drawn near. Some things hover at the edge, endlessly circling, always almost falling. This is where you are now, suspended in the in-between, close enough to the event horizon to feel its pull, but just far enough to watch what? It changes. You drift in this delicate space where light begins to hesitate. You see it curve, stretch, flicker, not because it's weak, but because gravity here is strong enough to bend even the fastest thing in the universe. Photons, those tiny seeds of light, travel straight in open space. But near a black hole, they learn to spiral. You watch a beam of starlight come too close. It swerves like a startled bird, looping into an orbit, trapped in a circular path just above the horizon, the photon sphere. A place where light neither escapes nor falls, but turns in endless circles, always repeating its journey, never moving forward. That light does not vanish. It remains visible, if only briefly, its orbit glowing faintly like a ring of fire. But eventually, some of it falls in. Some of it gives in to gravity's lullaby, and some manages to slip away. You begin to see the black hole not as a mouth, but as a sieve. It does not capture everything. It lets some things go. What determines the difference? Angle? Speed? Luck? You drift among fragments of particles, like snowflakes, circling a drain. Some spiral faster, caught in the current. Others, with just the right push, escape outward. Each tells a different story. Each makes a different choice. You watch dust from a distant star stream toward the black hole, forming a glowing, swirling disk, an accretion disk. It spins so fast, the particles crash into one another, heating up, releasing light before vanishing. Forever. The brightest part of the black hole is the space just outside it, the heat of farewell, the friction of goodbye. You realize that black holes, though invisible, announce themselves in what they leave behind, trails of X-rays, arcs, of twisted plasma, rings of light from matter trying to hold on. They do not emit light, but they cause light to scream. You wonder what else lingers here. Perhaps emotions, like particles, also orbit. Perhaps curiosity circles the horizon forever, always near the truth, never quite reaching it. Perhaps awe is a photon, gliding endlessly just before the edge dot in this place of near falling. You begin to feel the strange poetry of physics. The closer something moves to the horizon, the slower it appears to go, to an outside observer. Time stretches. A falling object seems to freeze in place. But from its own point of view, it continues falling smoothly. It does not pause. It does not wait. It simply continues. Perspective shifts everything. You think of the things in your own life that seemed frozen in time, moments when something began to change, but the change never seemed to arrive. Maybe they were orbiting too, waiting for the right path, waiting for release or collapse. And then there is information. You've heard whispers of a paradox, that when something falls into a black hole, its information may be lost. But quantum theory resists this idea. It insists information cannot be destroyed. So where does it go? Some scientists think it lingers at the edge, coded into the horizon itself, like ink on paper too small to read. Others believe it leaks out slowly, through faint radiation. The debate is still ongoing, one of the quiet mysteries at the heart of modern physics. You don't need to choose a side. You just rest in the question, and still the black hole spins. Some black holes rotate, slowly or wildly, like dancers. In deep space, their spinning changes everything. It flattens the horizon, pulls the fabric of space into a whirlpool. In some cases, matter can hover safely in what's called the ergosphere, a region where escape is possible if you catch the spin just right. Even near the edge, there is a way out, but only for the boldest trajectories. You float just outside the spin, watching the space itself twist and churn. It's not violent, it's elegant, graceful, like a storm you could step into. If you moved at the speed of thought, you wonder what it would feel like to fall. Not all at once, but to pass the horizon slowly, letting go of each known thing. As it slips away, would it hurt? Would it feel like flight? Or like sleep? You remember that nothing falling into a black hole ever returns. Not just because it can't escape, but because the passage itself changes it. Time warps. Space folds. Identity stretches thin. The traveler becomes a shadow, then a silence. But tonight, you are not falling. Tonight, you are learning. You stay just outside the edge, where the universe balances between letting go and holding on. You trace the patterns left by particles that almost escaped. You wonder how many things in the universe live in this state, not inside, not outside, but forever near the threshold dot. It reminds you of dusk, not day, not night. Just the pause between dot, it reminds you of memory, not now, not then. Just the echo in between. You look back one last time at the photon sphere, the accretion disk, the faint arcs of matter that almost made it out. What falls in becomes mystery. But what stays behind? That becomes light, and just beyond this delicate edge lies something stranger. Not what the black hole draws in, but what it sends out. A rhythm, a ripple, a soundless wave stretching across the cosmos. You turn toward it now, the music of gravity and the secret song of space-time. The universe is not silent. It hums, not in sound, but in shape, not in voice, but in motion. You float now in that hidden music, where gravity itself composes. The notes. Black holes do not speak with light, but with waves, and tonight you are listening. There are no ears in space, no air to carry vibration. But gravity, when stirred, sends its ripples everywhere, not as echoes, but as warps in the fabric of space and time. These are gravitational waves, and like ripples on a still pond, they move outwards from great disturbances. You think back to the star collapsing, the black hole forming. That moment of surrender doesn't just pull inward, it pulses outward. A ripple begins. It travels not through sound, not through matter, but through space itself. You ride now along one of those ancient waves. It began far from here, perhaps over 1 billion years ago. Two black holes, once separate, drifted closer with each orbit, pulled together by their shared gravity. Slowly, silently, they spiraled inward, not rushing, but circling again and again for eons. Then a final moment. A collision, not an explosion, but a fusion. The two holes merged, their masses becoming one, their edges folding into each other. And in that moment, space-time itself flexed and flowed. A gravitational wave was born. You feel it now, not as motion, but as rhythm. Space expands and contracts around you, not violently, but with grace, like a heartbeat too large to hear, like breath drawn by a sleeping universe. Scientists on Earth once caught these ripples. In 2015, LIGO, a pair of giant silent instruments, listened closely enough to hear the universe twitch. The detection lasted less than a second, but in that moment, we confirmed something Einstein had imagined a century before, that gravity is not still. It moves. You float now where sound is impossible, yet music still exists. Each wave carries the story of its source, how massive the black holes were, how fast they danced, how close they came before becoming one. You realize that black holes are not just ends. They are performers. They shape the symphony of space-time. Even in their silence, some of the waves you feel tonight are still moving outward, untouched. Others have already passed Earth. Some are faint, whispers from ancient collisions so far away that their signal is barely more than a breath. Others are bold, rising and falling with the drama of recent events. You reach out, not with hands, but with thought, and feel the scale. These waves do not ripple across oceans or through winds. They stretch entire galaxies. They cross millions of light years, like stones skipping across eternity. They are soft, almost unnoticeable, but powerful. Nothing stops them. Nothing slows them. You drift beside one, watching how it pulls and releases. If you were a beam of light, you'd stretch and squeeze with each passing wave. If you were time itself, your seconds would briefly shorten and then lengthen. Like tides that never reach the shore. It's here that you begin to understand something deeper. Gravity is not just a force. It's a language, a conversation between mass and motion, told in waves and warps. Black holes, dense and silent, are fluent in it. They speak by moving. They sing by merging. And the universe listens. You begin to wonder, if the universe can ripple, what else can dance? Neutron stars, spinning and colliding. Supernova collapsing into themselves. Even a planet, orbiting its sun, sends out a tiny wave, so small we'll never hear it. But they're all the same. Everything with mass leaves a mark. Every movement, a rhythm. Even you, if you could move fast enough, fall hard enough, live long enough, would sing dot, and so you float in this quiet concert. No instruments, no stage, just the endless arena of curved space, vibrating gently with events both ancient and ongoing. You think of Lego again, 2 arms stretching kilometers long, built not to observe light or heat, but to notice when space itself subtly lengthens or shrinks. It's like trying to hear a pin drop in a thunderstorm. And yet, they heard it. We heard it. A wave from 2 black holes merging more than 1 billion years ago passed through Earth, and the instruments quivered. Reality shivered. And we noticed you feel proud of your species, your small place in this vast music. The universe whispered, and we learned to listen, And now you are listening too, but not with machines, with imagination, with stillness, with awe. You realize something else. Gravitational waves don't just tell us that black holes exist. They tell us how many, how far, how fast. We're building a map, not of stars, but of shadows. A chart of things we cannot see, traced by how they move the cosmos. You drift through that invisible map now, like a leaf carried by tides you can't see, but somehow trust. You feel each swell, each tug, each fading ripple from long gone. Dances. It's peaceful, deep, like being rocked in the arms of a sleeping giant, and in that rocking, you begin to wonder, what else can gravity do? It doesn't just pull and hold. It stirs. It sculpts galaxies. It bends the paths of light. It lets the universe structure itself, from the tiniest planet to the grandest black hole, and in the strongest fields, near the darkest centers, gravity doesn't just shape motion. It shapes time. You turn toward that next question now. If gravity can ripple, if it can sing, can it also slow the ticking of the universe? Can time itself begin to fold? Ask ChatGPT. Gravity does more than pull. It bends, it cradles the stars, and curves the paths of comets. But near a black hole, it does something stranger still. It stretches the very fabric of existence, time and space, stirred together like threads in wind. You float now near that stretch. The calm outside the black hole's spin still lingers around you, but you are moving inward, closer. Not falling, just feeling. The music of gravitational waves still echoes in your thoughts, but now something subtler emerges. The slow reshaping of time. Time, you realize, is not constant. Not here, not near the deep. It softens like clay, lengthens like shadows in the late afternoon. The seconds around a black hole do not tick the way they do on Earth. They hesitate. They pull apart. You imagine placing 2 clocks, one here beside you, and one far away in calm space. If you could watch them both, you'd see yours slow down, ticking at half the speed. Then a quarter, then slower still. This is not a trick. It is not illusion. It is gravity bending time itself. Einstein once showed that mass curves space. But what he also showed, quietly, elegantly, is that time is part of that space. The universe is not made of 3 dimensions, but 4. 3 of space, 1 of time. And they are sewn together, spacetime. Here, near a black hole, that fabric is drawn tight. Not torn, just stretched, like the skin of a drum just before it hums. You drift closer, still outside the horizon, still safe. But the effects grow, deeper. If someone far away were watching you now, they'd say you're moving slower. To them, you've paused. But inside your thoughts, everything continues. You are awake. You are alive. Just existing on a slower path. You begin to feel how this changes everything. Near black holes, time is not universal. It becomes local, tied to where you are, to how much gravity surrounds you. The stronger the gravity, the slower the time. You picture astronauts near a black hole, circling close in high orbits. For them, a few hours pass. But when they return home, if they return, they find decades have gone by. Time dilation. It's called, and it is not fantasy. It is fact, proven, observed, felt. Even your GPS satellites, those tiny machines orbiting Earth, must correct for time running faster at their altitude. Because Earth's gravity is weaker up there, less stretch. Less slow dot if such a small planet can alter time. Imagine what this black hole does. You float near its twisted horizon now, and space feels different too. Not just time. Space itself stretches like taffy. Lines that should be straight bend in gentle spirals. Distances warp. If you tried to walk in a straight line, you might return to where you started without ever knowing you curved. The geometry here is not Euclidean, not flat. It is curved like the surface of a sphere, folded like the petals of a closing flower. This isn't just the absence of light, it's the reshaping of everything light moves through. You try to imagine this curvature, how a planet orbiting too close will spiral inward, not because it's pulled, but because space itself is tilted in that direction. There is no force dragging it down. It is simply moving along the shape of reality. Black holes do not pull like magnets. They do not consume like mouths. They are not vacuum cleaners in the sky. They are dense. Deep, infinite dense in the fabric of space-time and everything near. Them follows the slope. You feel it now. Not as a fall, but as a lean, a tilt in the world that doesn't end. You are not being dragged. You are being offered a direction, one that leads inward, deeper, slower. And in that tilt, time curls even more. You imagine a traveler falling into a black hole. To them, the journey is smooth, quick. They feel no sharp shift. But to the rest of the universe, that traveler never finishes falling. They appear to slow down, to freeze at the edge, suspended forever just outside. Both views are correct. Both are real. The black hole has split time into separate streams, flowing at different rates, showing different truths. And you begin to feel how small your usual understanding is. Time was once a metronome, steady and firm. But now it is a river with bends, with depths, with whirlpools. Space was once a backdrop, empty and still. But now it is a fabric that flexes, folds, and flows. You let go of the old meanings. You accept the new ones. You drift in the tide of SPA, CETI. It feels peaceful. Not chaotic, not dizzying, just different. Like the moment when you realize a melody you've always known has a hidden harmony. Always there, just quiet. You listen now to that harmony. The whisper of warped space, the hush of slowed time. You begin to feel that black holes are not just about collapse. They are about change in shape, in rhythm, in perception. You close your eyes, though they were never truly open, and imagine your body stretching across time, your breath moving slower than thought, your mind resting in curved space. And then, gently, you open again and look toward the shadow, because now you're ready to see it. Not just the bending, but the outline, the visible trace of the invisible thing, the shadow a black hole casts, without ever showing itself. What does something invisible look like? You drift now toward the answer, not expecting a face, but a footprint. For even black holes, which swallow all light, leave behind a mark. Not a body, not a surface, but a silhouette carved in glowing light. You are about to see the outline of something that cannot be seen. They call it a shadow. But it's not darkness cast by shape. It's the shape revealed by darkness. You float above the center of a galaxy now, where gravity has pulled stars and gas into spirals of glowing motion. At the heart of this swirl lies a supermassive black hole, millions of times the mass of the sun. You cannot see it, but everything around it knows it's there. This black hole does not announce itself. It does not roar, but its presence shapes the entire city of stars. It tugs on orbits. It gathers matter. It organizes chaos. You follow the spiral inward, closer and closer to the heart, where matter races in tight loops. It burns, it collides, it glows. And then, a hollow dot, not emptiness, but absence. A perfect circle where light vanishes. Not randomly, not softly, but with precision. This is not the black hole itself. This is the event horizon's shadow. The mark it leaves on the glowing matter around it. You drift near this glowing ring, where light screams and spirals before it gives up. It's hot. It's wild. It's spinning near the speed of light. And around all this chaos, at the very center, is a perfect silence. The shadow dot, this ring of light, called the photon ring, bends around the black hole again and again before escaping. Some photons loop several times before reaching us. Others never leave. The result is a glowing border around the deepest dark, a portrait drawn by gravity and framed in fire. You recall the image, the one that humanity captured in 2019, the first photograph of a black hole's shadow. It was not crisp, it was not sharp, but it was real. A golden ring, uneven and trembling, surrounding a hollow center. That black hole in galaxy M87 lies 55 million light-years away, and yet we saw it. With radio telescopes linked across the Earth, with patience and silence and science, we made the invisible visible. We painted the absence. You wonder what it means that we saw it. That something which consumes light was captured with light dot. It tells you that black holes don't hide everything. They shape their surroundings, and the surroundings remember. Light passing near them is bent so sharply that it becomes a map of space's deepest curves. You feel honored to look. The shadow is not destruction. It is memory, memory made visible. You drift just outside the photon ring now, watching light perform its dangerous dance. Every beam has a choice: to fall, to escape, or to orbit. The ones that circle many times form the tightest parts of the ring. The ones that escape give the ring its glow. This is where art meets physics. The ring is not only a boundary, it is a history. It is the record of all light that almost fell in, and you begin to understand that black holes are not just things that take. They reveal by what they refuse to show. The way a silhouette reveals a body. The way silence can describe a shape better than noise. Here, absence becomes presence. Here, the invisible becomes real. You look again at the image. The glow is not equal. One side is brighter. Why? Because the black hole spins. And as it spins, the light moving toward you is brighter. Doppler shifted, intensified. The light on the opposite side fades. Even the shadow has direction, motion, rhythm dot, and now, floating here, you feel how far we've come. From ancient myths about bottomless pits in the sky, to equations scribbled on chalkboards, to telescopes catching waves of radio light whispered. From the edge of gravity dot, we reached across time and distance to see a shadow shaped by nothingness. And you're here now, not with instruments, but with mind. With wonder, you drift near the edge of the ring, not afraid. You trace its golden curve. You see how it flickers and reforms, moment to moment, as new matter falls inward and new light escapes outward. You realize the shadow is not still. It is alive, fed by what surrounds it. It changes as the black hole spins, as stars wander too close, as gas heats and cools. And so, the shadow is not a fixed portrait. It is a breath, a pulse, a heartbeat. One last truth stirs in your thoughts. This image, this ring, this outline of the invisible It proves something more than physics. It proves that even the deepest dark can be made known. That through patience, through care, through listening to the light, even silence can be seen. And yet, what lies inside the ring? What lives within that dark center? We've circled it. We've listened to its waves. We've traced its curves, but we haven't gone in. Not yet. You begin to wonder now. What's inside, and why can't we know? You stand now at the edge, not of land, but of everything you know. Beyond the shadow lies a place no light has touched, no voice has echoed. It is the ultimate frontier, the final veil where physics bows to mystery. Tonight, you take a quiet step inward, toward what lies. Beyond the horizon. Not to plunge, but to understand the silence waiting there. The event horizon you crossed before was a threshold, a point of no return. Beyond it, space and time change their meaning. Here, your old maps no longer work. You cannot see, you cannot touch, but you sense the presence of something profound. A singularity where the laws of physics, as we know them, cease to hold. This is not a place, really. It is a condition, an infinite curvature, the heart of the black hole, a point where density and gravity compress endlessly, where space folds back on itself, time stretches into eternity. Your mind tries to grasp it, but finds only questions. What happens to matter that crosses this boundary? Does it vanish? Does it transform? Does it become part of the singularities? Endless fold? Physicists have wrestled with these questions for decades. Their theories touch the edges of reality. Some imagine the singularity as a point, infinitely small, infinitely dense. Others suggest it could be a ring, spinning endlessly, warping space around itself. String theory whispers of tiny, vibrating loops, hidden dimensions folded into the heart of darkness. You float here, suspended between what is known and what can only be imagined. You feel a strange calm, a stillness deeper than any before. For in the absence of light and time, there is a quiet possibility, the chance that this place is not an end, but a beginning. Could it be a doorway? Some ideas, still only whispers, suggest that black holes might connect to other places, other universes. Wormholes, tunnels through space-time, bending reality to create bridges between here and elsewhere. It is tempting to imagine that inside the black hole's silence lies a passage, a secret path. You sense the paradox of it all. A place that devours light and matter, yet might open to light and matter unknown. A place where time stops, yet something beyond flows endlessly. A place where the universe folds into itself, yet unfolds into something greater. You think of your own life's mysteries. Moments when endings became beginnings. When silence spoke louder than words. This place is like that, a threshold that challenges understanding, asking only for wonder. You linger in the dark, feeling the weight of not knowing. The singularity is the ultimate quiet, where physics surrenders and imagination takes over. You are not afraid. You are simply present, embracing the mystery with gentle curiosity. And you begin to realize, maybe the black hole's deepest secret is not in what it swallows, but in what it invites us to imagine. A universe larger than our fears. A reality beyond sight. A journey inward, deeper than space. You breathe in the darkness, feeling the universe's pulse beneath your skin. Not the pulse of stars or planets, but the heartbeat of the cosmos itself, steady, slow, infinite. And now, as you turn to leave this silent place, you carry with you a question. If black holes are endings, are they also the seeds of new beginnings? What worlds might wait beyond the horizon, hidden in the dark? From the darkness you emerged, carrying questions like stars. But black holes are not just endings or mysteries. They are creators, quiet architects shaping the very fabric of the cosmos. Tonight, You explore how these invisible giants influence everything you see. From galaxies swirling in graceful dance to the dust beneath your feet, you drift outward now, away from the singularity's silence, toward the vastness of space. You see galaxies, enormous islands of stars, gas, and dark matter. At the heart of nearly every one lies a supermassive black hole, millions or billions of times the mass of our sun. These giants are not just guests. They are rulers, pulling strings in the cosmic theater that you watch as gas and dust spiral inward, forming glowing accretion disks. Jets of energy shoot out like cosmic lighthouses, carving paths through space. These powerful outflows shape star formation, sometimes nurturing it, sometimes stifling it. Black holes regulate the growth of galaxies, keeping balance between chaos and order. You imagine the Milky Way, your home, with its own quiet giant resting at the center. Sagittarius. A black hole 4 million times the sun's mass, silently influencing stars near and far. Though it seems calm now, it once fed fiercely, shaping the galaxy's evolution. Beyond galaxies, black holes stir the cosmic web, the vast network of filaments threading the universe. Their gravity pulls on dark matter, guiding the flow of matter and energy across unimaginable distances. They create deep wells in space-time, places where matter gathers and galaxies form. You feel how creation and destruction are intertwined. Black holes swallow matter and light, yet they scatter elements vital to life across the stars. They birth waves that ripple through space-time, carrying messages from ancient dances. They sculpt the universe's grand design, quietly shaping its future. You think about your own place in this vast web. The atoms in your body were forged in stars, some of which may have danced with black holes long ago. You carry the universe within you, a story written in stardust and shadow. And as you float through this cosmic landscape, you sense something hopeful, that even in darkness, creation blooms, that endings fold into beginnings, that every black hole is not just a grave, but a seed. Tonight, you rest with that thought, drifting softly among the stars, feeling the universe's quiet hum, a song of light, shadow, and endless possibility. And just ahead, you sense a final truth waiting, a secret whispered between the stars, about what it means to be part of this great cosmic dance. Ask ChatGPT. You have traveled far tonight, through silence and shadow, time and space. From the quiet mouths of black holes to the ripples they send across the cosmos. Now you return, not just as an observer, but as part of the great dance. A dancer entwined with stars, planets, and the infinite fabric of space-time. Tonight, you rest in the knowledge that you belong to the universe itself. The universe is not distant. It is not separate from you. Its forces flow through your body, its elements built into your cells. Gravity, the invisible thread that holds galaxies together, also shapes your breath. You and the cosmos share rhythms, pulses of light, waves of energy, cycles of creation. You think of black holes again, not as monsters, but as partners in this cosmic waltz. Their pull guides the stars, their shadows mark the rhythm, their waves carry the song. They teach you that endings are never just ends, but transformations, points where one melody folds into another. Your mind softens like the horizon at dawn. You feel the slow, steady beat of space-time, the gentle swell of gravity's embrace. In this vastness, you are both small and infinite, a single note in the grand symphony. And yet, your presence matters. Your curiosity, your breath, your wonder, all part of the cosmic story. You breathe deeply, sensing the flow of time stretching and bending around you. The past and future meet in the quiet present, where all things converge. Here, the mysteries of black holes and the vastness of space become intimate truths, not distant puzzles, but familiar friends whispering their secrets. You rest now in the gentle dark, cradled by the universe's endless arms. The stars above you pulse softly, the waves of gravity hum faintly beneath. You are part of the dance, moving with the cosmos, drifting with the stars. And as your eyelids grow heavy, you carry with you the peace of knowing that in this vast, mysterious universe, you are home. You are light. You are shadow. You are the music. And with that, you slip quietly into sleep, carried on the gentle waves of space-time, ready to dream of stars, black holes, and the endless dance beyond.